So now we're going to continue on chapter 8. Okay, so chapter 8 is adding and subtracting fractions. And this lesson that we're going to be doing today is called round fractions. Just like when we round decimals, when we round whole numbers, we're going to be rounding fractions. Now, when we're rounding regular decimals or we are rounding whole numbers, we always use, remember, we always use the 0, the 5, because then we can see, does it go up or does it stay, right? So these are basically called benchmarks. This is what guides us when either we're going up because it rounds up or it rounds down. Okay, that's called benchmarks. So in fractions, we call those benchmark fractions. And basically these fractions help us to guide us if we're going to go up or we're going to go down. So we're going to use we're going to use the number 0. We're going to use 1/2, or the number 1 will help us guide us when we're doing those benchmark fractions. And if we use it in a number line, here is a number line. We'll say this is 0 and this is 1. On a number line with your fractions, this is 1/2. So for example, that 1/4 I used earlier, or that means I need to break this apart into 4 parts, right? So this would be 0. So I'm going to break it up into 4 parts. So this would be 1/4. Here is my 2/4. Here is my 3/4. And we know a whole, it would be also 4 out of 4. And if I was to ask, where does this round off to? In other words, the 1/4, is it closest to 0? This number means about. Is it closest to 0? Is it closest to 1/2 or the 1 whole? So in this case, it would be closest to 0. So we would just put 0. Okay? So I'm going to, some key concepts. We have round down. So we have round down. And basically what round down is if the numerator is much smaller than the denominator, round the fraction down to 0. Okay? So the numerator is much, much smaller than that denominator. So I round it to 0. Okay, so I'm going to, a couple seconds there so you can copy that down or concentrate what I just wrote. So round down, if the numerator is much smaller than the denominator, round the fraction down to 0. You can always pause your video if you think I'm going too fast. So here's an example for a fraction. So that we round down would be, I'm going to go ahead and draw. I'm drawing tenths. And I'm going to do, so this fraction would be 1/10. And this rounds to 0. Okay? So I'm going to turn the page. So now when we round to 1/2, if the numerator is about half of the denominator, round the fraction to 1/2. So same picture. And this time I'm going to do 6/10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are 6. Okay. This one rounds to 1/2. Okay. So let me show you an easier picture. That might not be as helpful. 4, 5. So we would do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See how it's kind of close to 1/2. Okay. So our next one would be, let me put it so you guys can see a little bit more of it. So when you round up, so you round up if the numerator is almost as large as the denominator. Round the fraction up to 1. So let me do same picture. 6. Oops, sorry, not 12. I need 10. There we go, 10. So I'm going to do 9/10. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. See how it's closer to 1? So this rounds to 1. Okay. So sometimes it's easier also if you use a benchmark number line. So we always call those again benchmarks. So let's do, I'm going to do a number line. And always use 0, 1/2, and 1. Okay, so our fraction would be 5/6. So where does it kind of land here? Or similar to where if the numerator is close to the denominator, then this rounds to 1. If you need to place it in your number line, you need to break this up into 6 parts. So let's do 2, 6. So this would be 1, 6, 2 6s, 3 6, 4 6, 5 6. Okay, see how it lands here? It's closer to 1. So it rounds off to 1. Okay, what about if I'm not using my number line? What about if I say 5/8? Okay, look at your numerator. Isn't it about half of that, about in the middle? So then this would be about 1/2. Why? Because it's about half of the fraction. Because isn't 4/8, isn't this half? So this would, when you simplify, this fraction would equal to 1/2. So isn't this close to that? Now, if I say my fraction would be 7/8, then this would be about 1. If my fraction was 2/8, this would be close to 0. So we are rounding off our fractions. So I'm going to leave that as that. So you can kind of copy it, or you can pause your video as well if you need to copy some of that. Okay, so for your assignment, what you're going to do, I will add your assignment. Remember, all you need to do is click on those boxes, open them up, and you can add your answer. So one of the first problems that is in your assignment would be problem number 3. So it's 1/8. My pen is dying, sorry. So 1/8. Okay, just by looking at this, isn't the numerator smaller, really small? This would automatically be rounds off to 0. Number 4, 5/9. Isn't this? You can do your number line, you can make your fraction, but just by looking at it, it's about close. 1/2 of 9 is close to that. So this would be round to 1/2. And that's all you need to do, is you just need to let me know if you round each fraction to 0, 1/2, or 1, and you can use a number line if needed. So like this one, say I wasn't sure, I'm going to go in and add my number line. So I'm going to have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 1/9, 2/9, 3/9, 4/9. Put 5/9 up here so you can see it. 6/9, 7/9, 8/9, and 9/9. And 9/9, we know it's 1. Okay, so just by looking at it, you see how it's kind of in the middle? So then this fraction would be 1/2. So that's why we have it here. Okay, oops, sorry. So that's it for this one. Hopefully you understand it. Again, if you have any questions, any messages you want to send me, put it in the private comments. So I'm going to go ahead. The assignment, I'm going to show you right now. I do have our math book. So you're going to be doing the independent practice. Okay, and you will do the back. Okay, you will be doing the back. Don't worry about number 19. Don't do. Okay, so try out these if you need space, or if you want to work these on another paper, and then you can attach the picture. You can have your parents send it to me on Remind. I get it that way. When you send it to me, I go in and add your score. Just make sure you turn it in. That way I remember to put your score in. Because remember, I have to find your assignments. The assignments are there, but if you don't turn them in, I'm assuming they're not done or they're not finished. So I won't go in and check those first because you haven't turned them in. Okay, so hopefully you get it. So this isn't too much. That way we can start going into adding and subtracting fractions. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.